Let's talk about something that so many of us actually see as a good thing: being agreeable, being generous, being that person everyone can always count on. We call it people-pleasing, and yeah, on the surface, it looks like just pure kindness. But what if I told you that deep down inside your brain, it feels a lot less like generosity and a whole lot more like a high-stakes emergency?
Just take a second and think about that. Have you ever had to turn someone down and you feel that knot just tightening your stomach? That jolt of anxiety? It's a very real physical feeling. It's almost like this primal alarm bell starts screaming in your head, warning you that there's danger just around the corner. But why? Why on earth can a simple two-letter word like no feel so incredibly threatening?
And this gets to the absolute core of it all. People-pleasing isn't some deep, unfixable personality flaw. It's actually a learned survival mechanism. It happens when, over time, your brain creates this powerful, almost unbreakable equation. Getting approval from other people equals safety. And disapproval? Well, that gets filed away under major threat.
Okay, so let's really dive into this, because understanding the why, what's happening on a neurological level, that's the real first step to changing the whole pattern. We're going to take a look at how this exact equation gets hardwired into our most automatic responses. Now, what's so fascinating about this slide is the huge disconnect it shows. On the outside, to everyone else, your actions look like generosity, kindness, this wonderful desire for harmony. But internally, whoa, your nervous system is running a completely different program. It's not about being nice, it's about emergency prevention. That act of kindness, it's actually a threat response. And that harmony you're working so hard to create, that's a form of deep, instinctual self-protection.
So how does this even happen? Well, if at some point in your life, disapproval meant you experienced something painful, like a big conflict, or someone you relied on pulling away from you, or even just deep shame, your brain took really detailed notes. It learned that to avoid that kind of pain, it's just safer to keep things smooth. It learns to treat harmony as absolutely essential for safety, which then makes silencing your own needs and opinions feel like the most protective, logical thing you can possibly do.
But of course, this protective strategy, it comes at a price. Maintaining that constant, unbroken harmony is not free. So what is the hidden cost here? What are you actually paying every time you silence yourself just to avoid a little bit of tension?
And this isn't some vague philosophical cost we're talking about. No, it's intensely practical. The bill comes due in the most important areas of your life, in how you actually see yourself, and in the real quality of your connections with the people you care about the most.
And this slide just lays out those costs so clearly. First, resentment builds. It's that quiet simmer you feel under the surface when you've said yes, but your entire body was screaming no. Second, your own identity gets blurrier. When you're constantly focused on what everyone else needs, you can really lose track of your own wants and needs. You also learn to pre-edit yourself, right? Deciding your own needs aren't even valid before you give them a voice. And maybe the most dangerous one of all, you start to confuse the absence of tension with real, genuine connection, mistaking a smooth surface for true depth. Now, I know this might sound a bit bleak, but here is the fantastic news. Because this is a learned pattern, your brain can absolutely learn a new one. It's not about flipping some magical switch, it's about retraining that old loop. So let's take a look at what that path forward actually looks like. Here it is, a simple 3-step guide. First, just notice. That's it. Become aware of the physical sensations. When you're about to disagree with someone, does your heart start to race? Do your palms get sweaty? That's your body literally equating disagreement with danger. Second, practice. But please start small. We're talking tiny, honest preferences. Things like, actually, I'd rather get pizza tonight. Really low stakes. And third, reframe. This is a big one. You start to judge the strength of a relationship not by its complete lack of conflict, but by its ability to repair and reconnect after a disagreement happens.
And that last point is so crucial, it really deserves its own moment. This is the final and most profound shift in your mindset, completely changing how you measure true connection and closeness with another person.
Let's be really clear here. The goal is not to become some cold, emotionless robot who couldn't care less what other people think. Absolutely not. The real goal is to give your brain better, more up-to-date data. Every single time you state a small preference and the world doesn't end, you're providing new evidence. You're proving to your own brain that disagreement isn't the catastrophe it's been fearing for so long. So the most important point is this. Once you understand this pattern, you can finally stop judging yourself for it. You can stop calling yourself irrational or too sensitive. You realize you're not broken, you're just running on an old, outdated program. And you can start treating this loop not as a permanent flaw, but as something that is absolutely 100% trainable.
This whole process, it all begins with one small step. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is one tiny, honest preference you can practice today? Seriously, maybe it's about what to watch on TV tonight or where to go for a walk. Start right there, because that one small act is the very first data point in teaching your brain a brand new and much truer definition of what safety really feels like.